Are you wondering why someone like myself would say, I don't mind DEI going away? Right? This is something that I know a lot of you are like, what? Diana Patton, the person who is a former civil rights attorney, the person who actually was trained in diversity, equity, inclusion in the late 1900s to let organizations know about diversity, equity, inclusion. Why would someone like myself say something like that? Why would I say, okay, fine, give in, tap out? Why would you do that? DEI, in the way that it's being interpreted today, has been relegated to a buzzword. It was put on the scene. It's been around for a long time, but it was put on the scene in 2020. And the reason it started to gain attention and traction was because a financial status shifted. It became mainstream. Organizations jumped on the bandwagon because they thought that they would actually experience substantial change, and they felt shame if they didn't. And so it became a box to check. And as a result, people put DEI in place, and people said, oh, we're spending all this money for DEI and our companies are not doing well because of it, billions upon billions of dollars. And because it was more of a formula, it was a creative strategy. It wasn't something that the leaders felt and believed and knew was important to the framework of humanity. There's a difference. And so, being a person like myself, who was trained as a civil rights attorney, who was trained as a diversity, equity, and inclusion instructor, knows that when you have people smiling in your face and doing something simply because it's a status thing or it's going to make them look good, as opposed to actually it being a belief and a value and something that you live with, it's short lived. Because the moment that it doesn't seem popular, it's going to go away. And that is the reason why I do not care that you, as an organization, as a leadership, want to get rid of DEI, because it means nothing to you. It's propaganda. It's a box that you have checked. And because when the wind shifts and it goes that way, guess what you're going to do? Jump off the cliff. And those types of leadership, that type of leadership, who wants to be a part of that kind of leadership, right? And so my message to you is DEI should have never have been a priority fight for you if you didn't believe in it, if you didn't value it, if you didn't see that it was something that would you want your company to be better because of it. I don't like when people smile in your face and say they're going to do something, but behind the scenes, they really don't believe it. I am that type of person of integrity. I am a person of deep integrity. When I say I'm for something, I just don't say I'm for something because it's popular. I don't say I'm for something because it looks good. I say I'm for something because who I am behind the scenes and who I am in front of you, it's the same person. And what happens with a lot of organizations today is they put you belong or I value you and you matter and inclusion, where in reality, it's only there so that your organization looks good. So that's the reason why. Sure, can it? Get rid of it because it's propaganda to you. And for the individuals like myself who are the same person behind the scenes, and when I show up in people, diversity, equity, and inclusion will never go away for me because I'm not checking a box. I'm not doing it because it looks good. I'm not doing it because, oh, some people will like me because of it. No. So that's the reason why I profess that. And it's for me, I live my life like this, right? And I just want to let you know that for me, and this is something I want for you, understand your story. I was raised with a white father and a black mom. And, and this was in the 70s and 80s, when this was not a very popular time to be of mixed race. And I dealt with a lot of identity issues. The white side of my family, they disowned us. The black side of my family always looked at us like, who do you think you are? Trying to act like you're better than us. And so I was dealing with this identity issue. And I realized the more that I tried to be one way, was at the separation of me being another way. And so the issue was, well, why can't I just be me? Why can't I understand who I am at the core of me, outside of these human constructs? Understanding that difference is good. It's good to be different. But when we rely upon labels to understand our worth, right? I was relying on the fact that someone would like me better if I identified as a Black woman, or someone would like me better if I said that I was biracial. You see, these human constructs that keep us separate, which actually should be something that we glorify, right? That the difference between all of us is beautiful. It actually separates. And the reason why I was attaching my identity was, at the end of the day, so that people would like me, so that people would see me as being important, people would see me as being a person of significance. But I didn't see myself that way, you see. So I had to search for what it was. What's my worth beyond what I look like, my culture, my zip code? What is my worth beyond that? And so what I discovered was, I'm going to lean into the fact that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I was brought here for a very specific purpose at a very specific time to fulfill a very specific assignment, realizing that I was born into this body as a female, that I have this skin color, that I have a cultural background, that I have a story that is going to relate to you. But at the end of the day, because I understand that I am a child of God and I am anointed and appointed to do very specific work, all of those outside constructs, all of those things aren't going to stop me. And I can't let those divide me. Because I am a spiritual being having a human experience, I understand that I can connect with you at that level. And that is the big difference. That is the biggest difference between what I'm saying and what I do and how I show up in the world. That when I have that filter on, then my race, my gender, I don't have to put other people down and say I'm better than them because I'm this. You have value, I have value. I see us as equal. I see us, and I will live my life that way. And that's the reason why I became a civil rights attorney. That's the reason why I worked in diversity, equity, inclusion, is because we were supposed to see those not as barriers, but as opportunities. Those were opportunities for us to connect. And so that's the reason why I don't care that you can remove diversity, equity, and inclusion, because it's propaganda. It's propaganda. What I will always believe in is the beauty of our differences, the beauty that we all have within us. And I want each person in every organization across the world to stand up with that belief system. The power of the people will decide. People that will continuously believe in that and promote that I am a spiritual being having a human experience who is born into this body with these beliefs, with this cultural background that makes us all beautiful and unique. And I will celebrate all of that. And I will encourage and invite other people in. I will create spaces that allow people to be themselves, to honor that. And eventually, that will be the actual way in which a company walks. It will be the way in which you live. And there are organizations who are flat out saying, I don't believe it's propaganda. I believe that this is how we should operate and we should promote. And those are the organizations that will survive. Those are the ones who will continuously make their way into the next generation. Let this be known. Let this video stand truth in what I know for sure will happen. It is not something that we should ever look at as a box to check. And if you're looking at your life that way, if you're saying, oh, let me speak this way, talk this way, look this way, because it's popular, that is not the best position for you to be in. And I encourage you, get real with yourself. Understand who you are. Understand the way you walk, how you talk. Who are you behind the scenes? And who are you when you show up in front of other people? Because that is where true integrity lies. And your confidence and your courage to stand in that truth is what you should be doing every single day. And when you're able to do that, when you're able to stand in your truth, you're able to stand in your organization that way, and you can shift your organization makeup to believe that, not just be a checkbox. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? This is the reason why I don't mind diversity, equity, inclusion in the way it's currently interpreted going away, because it doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't mean anything to you. And so I want to be able to answer any questions that you have about that. Anything that you have that you feel, well, what happens now? Right? These companies are taking it away. Well, wouldn't it be great if we could begin to encourage the employees in those organizations who those DEI are going away? What happens to humanity? How are we looking at people? And what are we saying instead? Is it that people don't matter? Is it that individual differences don't matter? I mean, if I were in an organization that said Target, for example, and I worked there, I would want to know, well, what does matter, right? Does inclusion matter? And if it does, how does that look like? Does it matter that we all look different and are different and that our customers are different? How does that look? And if I was in that organization, those are the questions that I would have. And I would organize within my organization to figure that out. And if I wanted to stay, because a lot of people are questioning, do I even want to stay with an organization that doesn't seem like it has my best interest at heart? So that's something that I really know is critical, right? And to also understand that at the end of the day, you might report to a boss within your organization, but I'm going to encourage you to have a boss outside of the four walls of your organization. For me, it's God. For you, I hope you find, and if it's God for you, then be about that business, because then no organization can stop you from what it is that you believe in. No organization can halt the belief system and the assignment that you are on. And this is the critical state that we as a society are in. And quite honestly, you don't even understand the power that you have within you to be able to do the work that you've been called to do. Some of us, as I said before in previous lives, we've relegated this idea that someone else is in charge of our lives, that there's some other force that is in charge of our lives. When my job is to remind you that you are in charge of your life. You get to decide when you choose to allow a certain thought, a belief system to remove your idea that you can actually move forward. And I want you to understand you have a power that you haven't even tapped into. The power that you have has nothing to do with a president, with executive orders, with a company's DEI policy. That has nothing to do. Tell me how that has something to do with your power. And the reason, if you say, well, Diana, you don't understand, and then you insert the Blake, that's because you haven't even tapped into who you are and the power that you have, because you've relegated it to this belief system. And I'm telling you, as I said before at the beginning of this live, I get that. I did too. I really thought that someone else was in charge of my life because I wasn't seeing evidence that I was in charge of it. So I want you to get to the point where you're starting to work on yourself and you're starting to understand who you are behind the scenes. If you are a person who believes in diversity, equity, inclusion, it will never go away. You will speak that truth, you will live that truth, and you will profess that in your organization. You will profess that in your social circles. You will profess that in your community, search everywhere, no matter where it is. No one ever gets to take away your belief system simply because they say you can't. And I just am looking for those people. I'm trying to find those women in corporate America who believe that. I am trying to find the women in corporate America who understand that there is something deep within them that's calling them to do something pretty amazing. And you have bought into the system of belief that you can't do something because someone says you can't. And I want you to understand we have to unite for such a time as this. You are being called, you are being magnetized to the Rise Which I Am movement because you know there's something more. You believe there's something more. It's not propaganda. It is not some sort of, system that says you can't. And I'm telling you, the reason why I am channeling my grandmother, Luella Talmadge Jackson, because she had to believe this. This woman is from the Jim Crow South. She had to believe that there was something more. That's the reason why her family left the South and went to the North, because they believed that there was something more. It didn't matter what the president said. It didn't matter what this organization said. It didn't matter what that law said. I'm going to move forward because I can. And I believe I can. And I'm going to be around people who believe they can. And that's what I want you to attach to. So yes, get rid of that. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day for you to be able to own your power, to believe you have the path to power, you have a purpose, and you need to be around people who speak that. That's the reason why I'm so on fire. Well, I'm lying. I'm always on fire. I'm always on fire for what it is I know that we are about. And so there's two takeaways I just want to give to you. Two takeaways I'm going to ask you to think about. First is, do you actually believe? Do you live with the mindset that diversity, equity, and inclusion is important to you? Not for any other reason, but because you believe that difference is good. You believe that it's within your heart that people should find a way that everyone should have an opportunity for equity, right? And that there have in the past been some things that have separated us, but we're going to stand for that truth. Do you believe that when people come into your organization, that we should treat them and we should love each other, love one another as we love ourselves? And part of the issue is a lot of us need to learn how to love ourselves better. And so if you stand for that and you believe that, regardless of what other people say, you can make a difference. And so I want to ask you what you personally believe about that. Do you live with that mindset? And don't fall into defeat. That's the number one thing I want to ask you, to do that. And what is your mission statement? What is your personal mission statement for yourself? Not your organization, but for you. What's your personal mission statement? And lastly, the first one is to figure out, one, what does DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, mean to you personally outside of propaganda? Secondly, what's your mission statement? What do you stand for? You personally, that you will stand up for. And third is, what are your values? Like if you were to sit down and say, no, this is what I value. In fact, I would know that you value that because I would see how you walk. I would see what you do. And I would see, for me, it's my faith. I'm not going to stop. I have had so many people tell me, well, you don't want to offend people because you talk about God. What? Well, would you not talk about Allah or Buddha or all your other religion, your belief system because it's not popular? What? Talk like that. And whatever you believe in, but I'm going to say what I say, right? And that's the beauty of diversity. We don't have to all be the same. right? We're not all the same, we're different. And so those are the three tasks that I have for you, right? What does diversity, equity, inclusion mean to you outside of the propaganda and policies and what people say? Second is, what's your mission statement? And third, what do you value? Write it out. Take time to do that. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to leave this right here because I go live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. I am want to continuously, I'm going to continue to bring forth this messaging. I'm going to continue to talk to you. I would love for you to join me on these lives. Let's have some conversations, like real conversations, and talk about real things and not put things underneath the carpet. Okay. So let's just follow me. I'm going to put the link in here for you to be able to follow me to get on my weekly downloads so that we can stay connected. Until then, have a great week.